First and foremost, I want to apologize for missing you guys on week 4 for the Say What You Like NFL Weekly podcast. A ton of construction going on around the studio that is my living room. But I'm back for week 5 where I will be talking about who I believe is the better quarterback between Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes. We're going to be talking about the contenders and the pretenders. We're going to be separating those. We're going to talk a little bit about my Dallas Cowboys and their Sunday night football matchup against the Houston Texans. And of course, my week 5 picks in the NFL. And we're starting right now. Yo, what's up, people? This is your boy Phil over at the Say What You Like Sports podcast, and I'm about to hit you guys up with some Q&A because I received a couple of questions this week when I was going through my mail, going through my comments, going through my Twitter feed, and you can follow me on Twitter at Say What You Feel. Hit me up. You know, I'm not too big for anyone out there. Ask a question, call me an idiot, do what you got to do. You could even send me a message. We'll talk about it here. As long as you're telling me why you think I'm an idiot, hey, I'm cool with it, man. You know, it's like that. We all got opinions. But what I want to talk about here is I got a couple of questions about who do you like better, Jared Goff or Patrick Mahomes? Now, it's funny because real quick, guys, you know what? Jared Goff, he's got, you know, a darling head coach in Sean McVay. And you got Andy Reid coaching Patrick Mahomes, and we all know Andy Reid's been a quarterback whisperer throughout his career. And these two young quarterbacks are looking like two of the best quarterbacks in the league so far, a quarter of the way through the 2018 NFL season. Now, I gotta admit, if you're asking me, I'm just a little bit more impressed with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has not thrown a single interception on the season. And I think he's thrown, I don't even have the stats right in front of me, but I think he's thrown for something like 14 touchdowns already. So 14-0, if I have that right. Again, hit me up in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I think he's 14 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. And he's dropping dimes, making big plays, whether they're on bubble screens, whether it's a 40-yard bomb, whether it's a slant, whether he's getting outside of the pocket, eluding a pass rusher like Von Miller, switching the ball to his left hand to throw a pass and get the completion. I mean, he's doing it all. I mean, it's something to watch. I gotta admit, I have not been as impressed with the first-year starting quarterback. He's not a rookie, but a first-year starter. I have not been impressed with the first-year starter like I have since Aaron Rodgers back in, I think that was 2008. And I remember that game, that first game that Aaron Rodgers played back in 2007, I believe, when he played my Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. And the Cowboys defense came on a corner blitz and knocked Favre out of the game. And Aaron Rodgers, man, I mean, he was just impressive. You could see the athleticism. You could see the arm talent. You could see the confidence. And it's the same thing I'm seeing in Patrick Mahomes. You can see that it factor. Like, you can watch and study all the film. You can call it whatever you want, but he's got it. You know, he's got the confidence. And the team believes in him. And I think that's what I'm seeing in Patrick Mahomes. And I really haven't seen it on this level since Aaron Rodgers. And I know that's high praise. And I'm not calling him Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying, look, so far, so good. And that's to take nothing away from Jared Goff, who is right underneath Patrick Mahomes this year to me, as far as MVP talk, or at least best quarterback play talk. I mean, he was throwing dimes last week on the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, perfect ball placement. I mean, he just looks like he's so comfortable in that offense. He's come a long way since his rookie year under Jeff Fisher. But I'm not about to give all the credit to Sean McVay. It takes talent. The kid was a number 1 overall draft pick for a reason. And Jared Goff, man, he's got the talent. You know, the first year when they were rookies, everybody was talking about what a steal in the 4th round that Dak Prescott looked like. And he got all the hype. And Goff was being called a bust at that point. Then last year, you know, Carson Wentz went on a tear for the first half of the season before he went down with the injury late in the season. And everybody was calling him the MVP of the league. And he should have been drafted number 1 in that draft. But now, at least a quarter of the way through year 3, Jared Goff looks like the best quarterback in that draft class. But take nothing away from Goff, but guys, if you're forcing me to pick a quarterback, a young quarterback in this league, give me Patrick Mahomes. And now we're on to the next segment here on the Week 5 Say What You Like NFL podcast. A little segment I like to call Contenders or Pretenders. So, as you know, we are a quarter of the way through the 2018 NFL season here, and I gotta admit, there's quite a few teams currently sitting in first place in their division that I didn't, and a lot of us just didn't see coming. So, we have to talk about this. Are these teams contenders or pretenders? Take, for instance, my favorite division to follow, the NFC East. Right now, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles are sitting at 2-2, and they're not on top of the division. Right now, the current division winner is a team that's coming off a bye week. We're talking about the Washington Redskins at 2-1, and they've looked impressive in their first 3 games on the season. I gotta admit, Adrian Peterson, he looks like he's found the fountain of youth, man. I mean, he's running good. He's not the AP, he's not the MVP that he was 5, 6 years ago, but he's still looking like 1,000-yard back if he can get through a full 16 games. That's for sure. He definitely is giving them a run game and a threat in the red zone. And I think the biggest difference is Alex Smith from Kirk Cousins. I mean, I liked Kirk Cousins. He was a bit too up and down for me as a quarterback. You just kind of never knew. He was like a grab bag. You just didn't know what candy you were going to get. Sometimes you get a good one. Sometimes you wouldn't. You get a sour one in there. But with Alex Smith, he's the opposite. He is a reliable quarterback. He's not going to turn the ball over. You put a defense behind him, which Washington has. Those DBs are no joke. And you put a running game like Adrian Peterson, and he's the type of player that's going to get you 10 games and a playoff spot. So, yeah, I guess if I have to call it a quarter of the way, the Washington Redskins right now, at least for the division, they're looking like a contender. Also, in the NFC, you got to talk about the NFC North real quick. The Chicago Bears are leading that division over the likes of Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers and the favorite, at least in my eyes, going into the season, the Minnesota Vikings. The Chicago Bears are on top of that division. And that defense is balling out. Now that they got Khalil Mack, that far and away is the best defense in that division. Probably the best defense in the NFC, maybe even the league, to be honest with you. I think this team is a legitimate contender out of nowhere. However, I think a lot is going to fall on the shoulders or the arm of Mitchell Trubisky, the second-year quarterback. He threw for 6 touchdowns this weekend. And hey, if he's got more games like that in him, hey, there's no doubt the Chicago Bears are another contender, at least a quarter of the way through in the 2018 NFL season. Looking around the NFC, we got the South. New Orleans at 3-1. You guys know the deal. Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Kamara. They're waiting to get Melvin Ingram back to really boost that running attack. They're going to be there. I mean, that defense is a bit up and down at times. They give up some big plays, but that offense can score with the best of them. And they're going to be there in a tough division. So they're a contender. I don't even have to talk about what's going on in the NFC West. The LA Rams got that division sewn up at 4-0. So I got to turn my eyes to the AFC. Let's talk about the AFC North. Another surprise. Who saw the Cincinnati Bengals coming in at 3-1, and they hold the tiebreaker over the 3-1 Baltimore Ravens? Cincinnati really put the hurt on Baltimore in that Thursday night football game a couple of weeks ago. So technically they're in first place. And look, if we're talking about Super Bowl contender, nah, count me out. I just don't believe in the front office or the coaching staff yet, no matter how good they've looked in the first quarter of the way through the season. But if we're talking about a playoff team, a contender to win the division, the AFC North, hey, you know what? Sign me up. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a contender for the AFC North, especially with the way that Pittsburgh seemingly is just falling off, and the Ravens, they already shown they can beat the Ravens, and I think they're, right now, at least a quarter of the way through, the only legitimate contender in the AFC North, along with Cincinnati. And then if we look out east, man, the Miami Dolphins at 3-1 are leading the division. Are they a pretender or a contender? I mean, their only loss was the 38-7 blowout to the New England Patriots, and that's not a good look because that's their direct competition in the AFC East. And I think, with the Patriots getting Edelman back, I think this offense is about to really catch that boost and start performing. Gronk, should be getting healthy. He's coming off an ankle injury. So I think the Patriots offense is going to be all right. The Patriots are always going to be there, and that's why at this point, Miami, I see them as a very, very good team. I predicted them to finish second in the division. A lot of people were calling for the Jets earlier in the year, but I knew Miami was the better team. But still, I cannot call them a contender for their division in the AFC East. So right now, I think Miami's a good team. But if we're talking about a playoff contender or a Super Bowl contender, I can't go there. I'm going to have to call them a pretender a quarter of the way through. Now, I want to talk about a team that people give me a lot of hell for. The Tennessee Titans are currently leading the AFC South again due to a tiebreaker. They beat up on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 3-1. And they have 2 division wins under their belt already. So the Tennessee Titans are looking good. They beat Houston and Jacksonville in the division. Their only loss was to the previous team I spoke about, the Miami Dolphins. And that's a good 3-1 team. Nothing to really be ashamed of, at least early on in the first quarter of the season for the Titans. Now I know this Titans team is ugly. Marcus Mariota to me just doesn't seem to be playing in his element. They're a dirty team, tough defense, running game, but they get the job done. It's ugly, but you know what? It's effective. So effective right now that, yeah, I think the Tennessee Titans are a legitimate contender to win the AFC South. I won't go so far and say they're a Super Bowl contender, which I do call Jacksonville, oddly enough. But I think they could sneak up and win this division for sure. They've shown that they can defeat those other teams in the AFC South and pull out some ugly wins at the very least. But they definitely wouldn't be able to contend with a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, 4-0. I think they got the West on lock. Clack, clack. I predicted that. I saw that one coming. I didn't think Mahomes was going to be as good as he was, or this offense to be as explosive as it has been over this first 4 weeks into the season. But man, I knew this was the team to beat, out in the West. So, contenders and pretenders, man. We got a couple of pretenders out there, but seemingly right now, if you're in first place in your division, you are a contender in 2018. All right, real quick before I get up on out of here, I want to talk a little bit about my Dallas Cowboys, who have a big game coming up this weekend, lining up against the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football, an interstate rivalry. I know the Texans fans and the Texans are always geared up to take on their big brother, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just kidding about that big brothership, but that's kind of the narrative out there. I'm from LA myself, and I'm a Clippers fan, but you know what? The Lakers are the talk of the town, and I think the Cowboys will always be the toast of Texas. So until the Texans can really step it up, I mean, the Cowboys are always going to be it in the state of Texas. But you know what? Put a couple of wins against the Cowboys, and things can change real fast. So that's what the Houston Texans are hoping to do, hoping to turn that narrative around of being the little brother to the Cowboys, being the big brother in Texas. But into the game, man, I just want to talk a little bit about some things to watch. I think we got to look out for the matchup between Leal Collins and J.J. Watt. I think J.J. Watt should be lining up very much, for the most part, against Leal Collins on his side. And Leal Collins has been struggling for the most part early on in that 2018 NFL season. He looked pretty good last week, but I think it's going to be a hell of a task when you got J.J. Watt lining up right in front of you or right off to the side of you, trying to get through you to Dak Prescott. And, it's a hell of a task. So hopefully Leal Collins can hold it down on the right side of the line against J.J. Watt, because Clowney is going to be on Tyron Smith. And, they move Clowney all around that line. He's the rover, man. He's stunting, he's moving, he's strong. He's a do-it-all pass rusher. So they got dangerous pass rushers for the Houston Texans and Watt and Clowney. That's something to watch, man, against this Cowboys offensive line. I think Zeke should be all right because I think run blocking, the Cowboys have looked solid this year. Even without Frederick, Looney is a solid run blocker, man, for sure. He's impressed me so far in the 2018 NFL season. I think another thing, though, to watch for in this game is Deshaun Watson because it's going to be all on the arm of Watson, and that's a lot to ask for a second-year quarterback, no matter how good he's looked early on in his rookie year, because there is really no running game for this Houston Texans offense. Um, they just can't run block. The running back, he's running for a minuscule amount of yards every game. So I think the Cowboys front seven, if they can really get them behind the chains and start to tee off with the likes of D Law, David Irving is back for this game, so that hopefully, he should get 10 to 15 snaps. I would think they want to bring him back slow, make sure he's in shape. But you got Crawford, you got even Armstrong looked pretty good out there. And I think Taco looks like he's improving. So, this line should do their thing. And I think you're going to see the Cowboys linebackers shine in coverage. I am predicting a Leighton Vander Esch interception on Deshaun Watson this weekend. That's my prediction for the game. LVE will get his first interception against the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. I think these linebackers are going to be playing a lot of coverage because, basically the offense that I've seen the Houston Texans play so far is pretty much a spread offense, a college type offense. So I think these linebackers are going to have to show their thing, taking those underneath routes away from some of these receivers and tight ends there. But you know what? Other than that, man, I'm just hoping for a good game. I think the Cowboys should win this thing. I'm going to say the Cowboys win 24-17 over the Houston Texans. I just hope the Cowboys can really show themselves, prove to themselves, and show the rest of the league that they can win on the road because they have not looked good on the road this year. They didn't look good in Seattle, didn't look good in the opener in Carolina. So, they're going to Houston, but at least they're home in the home state of Texas, so hopefully they'll play better, and hopefully Dak can continue to look confident in the pocket like he did last weekend. And hopefully Zeke is just continues to be that monster, that rancor that keeps eating beneath Jabba in his palace, man. That's what we need. We need that to happen. So, Cowboys, Texans, man. You know what? I'm sure I'll be here next week talking about my thoughts on that game. Hopefully, I'll be more right about things than wrong. You're picking New England to beat Indianapolis? Me too. Who do you pick to win between Tennessee at Buffalo? Yeah. Okay, I'll take the Titans. Who do you think's going to win between Miami at Cincinnati? I'll take Cincinnati. Who do you think's going to win between Baltimore at Cleveland? I'll take Baltimore. Who do you think's going to win? Green Bay at Detroit? I'll take Green Bay too. Jacksonville at Kansas City? Yeah, I'll take Kansas City too. Denver at New York Jets? I'll take Denver. I'll take Denver. I know New York's at home, but I'll take Denver. I think they're a better team. Atlanta at Pittsburgh? Yeah, I'll say Pittsburgh because they're at home. New York Giants at Carolina. Picking your favorite team, huh? Anyway, New York Giants at Carolina. I'll take Carolina too. Oakland at LA Chargers. I'll take the Chargers. Minnesota at Philadelphia. Yeah. I'll take Minnesota for the upset right there, I think. I think because, I don't know, I just have a feeling like Minnesota has something to prove, you know? Arizona at San Francisco. You pick Arizona? I pick Arizona too. LA Rams at Seattle. I'll take the Rams too. Dallas at Houston. I'm gonna take Houston. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'll take Dallas. And then let's see one more, and we'll see at the end. We'll see who wins, and whoever loses gets to pick where dinner's at. I mean, whoever wins gets to pick where dinner's at. Okay, Washington at New Orleans. I'll take New Orleans too.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.